After staining the leaves, I applied it to the leaves so that the paint dries well, to set faster, dry faster, so as not to wait a few days. In order to give a little shine to the leaves, I cause here desiccant. I have an aerosol. It is very easy to use. Memory firm. Yellow number 603. Good thing because in one day even the thickest paint dries. That is, it turns out that when applied with an aerosol to the painted ones, such a light film on top is obtained, which firstly gives a satin shine and accelerates the drying of the oil paint. So, well, glitter certainly doesn't suit all colors. Somewhere dullness is needed. Then such a desiccant will not be suitable for these flowers. But it is a chic option for leaves, for orchid leaves, roses. Why? Because it gives shine, lively shine, and of course accelerates paint spillage. So I use such a desiccant. A wonderful thing. Therefore, if you have such an opportunity to find somewhere and buy, then I advise it everyone. Next, what are we going to do? Look here. I got leaves. Different sizes. Here I have 4 leaves. 2, 3 smallest leaves. One is slightly more. And 4 leaves of long size. We need to glue these leaves. Stick to the base. The leaves are dry. Now what are we going to do? Let's start with the smallest leaves. Here I have small leaves. Look where we made the thickening. If you fold it like this, then, in principle, the leaf covers the base, but it sticks out like that. Therefore, to make it a little tilted, I will now make an incision. I will make a small cut in the middle, in the form of such a check mark. Cut out the triangle inside. See what happens. This is the form, and we first try on before gluing. I put it here. Look, I grab the base and this is what happens. In principle, the normal form of the location of the leaf itself. So, now what are we going to do? Before further sticking, you can still try on, of course. I cut out more here. I measured the triangle. The same thing from the top examples can be. I attach the leaf, arrange it as we need it, then the excess can be cut off. This is how the leaves are arranged. So, well, now we're going to glue. We will glue with super glue, because the latex glue will no longer take, because the leaves are dry. We first coat the place that we will glue. Coat gently. It is advisable to open windows because superglue is still quite volatile, caustic, so work with it carefully. So we apply at the base of the leaves and press well with our fingers. Like this. In this way. Preferably from both sides. Take it with strength. Press and hold for a few seconds, so that the glue adheres well. That's all we held. We will continue to glue the next leaf. Now I will hold it a little longer so that it will probably stick and not fall off. So let's take the next one. Again we coat the base. And now we glue it opposite the leaf. Here I have such ponytails left, so I'll turn on each other like that. Watch your hands gently too, otherwise my fingers will stick. Glue got on my fingers. Therefore, be careful not to get glue on your hands, otherwise superglue grasps very quickly and then it will be difficult to wash your hands. So here we go. We hold it tightly. We press, and then we will already try on other leaves. So, probably that's all. Here is the top view. Look. No holes, nothing. Look. Perfectly. Well, probably it's stuck. Let's measure the next leaf now. Let's make an incision first. Without a notch, it turns out a little, not the shape that I wanted. It sticks out too high. Therefore, I make an incision like this. If you have cutters with a special cut for leaves, there are such extended ones, that's fine. Then you may not have to make any incisions. So, we apply further, just below. I'm gonna check it, but so that it covers the previous leaves. Look, because there should be no holes, no joints, nothing is visible. And this way. That is all. Now I will glue the next, and I will make the next cuts on all the leaves, and I will periodically try on and stick. Do the same thing. If suddenly your distance between the leaves is not large somewhere, but you need to make it normal as it were, right? Okay, if we succeed now, I'll show you how to do it. Here you will have to cover all the joints with clay so that it is very neat. That's all. While trying on, I make cuts along the edges and try on. And then we will glue together already. I glued on a few more leaves in the same way that I showed you. But what do I want to do next? Here I got a small overlap and not quite even. If I stick the leaves in the future, then these errors will be visible. So what do you want to do? In this case, it's best to take clay and cover it. You can lower it a little and you get a continuation of the trunk of the leaves. To do this, take the clay that you have left, a small piece. The same color we used for the leaves. We coat with latex glue. Not super glue, but latex. Here, for example, I have joints. I coat here, here, and a little below. I'll go in here with clay. So, I will stretch it carefully now. I'm applying. I smooth it with my fingers and lower it down. I'll even extend the stem a little, the stem of the leaves themselves, to make it longer. Elongate it. It will be even more interesting. Excess can be removed. If I train quite a long turn. See for yourself the size you get. Don't overdo it. It is not necessary to do too long if you also roll in clay to cover up the errors. So, fingers walked. Everything was removed. Now you need to take water and wash it so that everything is smooth, beautiful, and without any errors. To make everything look neat, we wash this clay. We go through the joints with our fingers. So, here I have a small knock. I will gently cover it with clay. So this is what happens, look. Now we will leave it to dry. The clay must set so as not to be wet. It's about 20-30 minutes. Let it stand like this and then you can already glue the next leaves. We have 2 leaves left. And that is all. And this will be the end of the process. See if there is any error. Look between the leaves. Somewhere you can neatly crawl. Touch up a little with clay. But it's better to do it in the process. That's it in the assembly. Here the leaves are glued and you see some kind of error, some kind of wrinkle, crack, then immediately smear it with clay and everything turns out quite very neatly. That is all. We leave it to dry and then continue the process. See what happens. The clay is dry. It is still quite soft. The main thing is that it no longer sticks to your hands. Everything is fine. Now we need to glue the leaf. Here we have 2 leaves left. In principle, 6 leaves of these are enough. Big ones. That is, the foliage itself already looks normal. Externally, visually. Since I made the leaves larger, we will glue them all. Let's do the fitting again first. Now I'll apply and see what happens. You see, it will be located even lower. This is even better. At different levels. This is how we glue it now. And the next leaf is done in the same way. So, again, we will use glue, super glue for this. I coat the base. Wait a second. Okay, I'm greasy. And now I'm applying. First on one side and then on the other. Pressing well against the clay. In general, the lower leaves of an orchid are horizontal. They don't look up. Well, mostly. Of course, all leaves look differently. Orchid leaves generally look differently. So, on soft clay, on fresh one, glue instantly sets, already holding up well. So, another leaf. We coat the same. Avoid getting glue on your fingers. So, here I will glue it now, and then I need to roll it in with clay so that everything is very neat and there are no unnecessary gaps, so that it is not visible that the leaves are cut off. So we keep it good. We glue. View from the other side. The fingers are already glued. The clay does not even peel off. So here's the top view. Leaves went at an angle. But in principle, they can be located at any angle, differently. Here they are in the orchid. One leaf generally in one direction, the other in the other direction. The main thing is that their growth goes one opposite to another leaf and is arranged in such a checkerboard pattern. So now we remove the super glue. We take out latex adhesives and clay. Now we'll glue the clay. Or rather, we won't even glue it, but we will roll it in, of course. And let's make the final look exactly of the leaf base. For this, perhaps we need a little more clay. I knead it well. And now we first coat with glue. Glue where joints, bumps are, where we cut off. So that we can't see it. Here and here. Now I do it. You can stretch it a little like this so that there is enough for the girth. And I embrace this clay here. And distribute gently with your fingers first, where all the bumps joints are. If some holes suddenly remain voids, then we must fill them with clay so that they are not left. So we press. Here we can hold it neatly. So, And now holding this side like this. We take water and wash it carefully so that everything is very smooth and neat. So I wash it from this side. Smooth movements so that everything is very neat. Clay generally lends itself easily, especially when wet. It's so convenient to do with water. You see how it becomes soft and pliable. So we wash over here. Align the base of the leaves so that everything is smooth and neat. So let's see. Look, try not to overdo it with water in the sense that drops do not fall on the leaves, preferably, so that moisture gets to me. We hold like this. In the event that drops fall, they fall down exclusively. Better to let your hands be wet and dirty than fall on the leaves. So now, you can use not even what you can, but need wet wipes. And remove the drops from it carefully. All excess moisture. We wipe everything carefully. That is all. We remove the excess and now we hang it in this way and let it dry. We leave the leaves to dry so that everything dries well. It is advisable to leave it for several hours. Let it dry, and after complete drying, we will finish the tinting. We tint, make a finished look, and we will have complete beauty, but now let it dry up. So, after our leaves are ready, dried, harvested, everything is completely assembled. What else do we need to do? What is a small nuance? We need to finish toning, and where will we finish? At the point of attachment of the leaves, we will walk with a slightly reddish-purple shade, diluted, of course. We will give a light shade so that there is a more natural color. I will use, here I have a lilac color, quinacridone. It is a fairly cool color. That's why I liked it, and I want to tint it with it. I'll take a small amount. You can use other shades. Let's say in red shades, but in cold colors. Burgundy, lilac shades, because here are not warm tones, red, scarlet, namely cold. Therefore, if you do not have this, then you can use any other color. So, now let's try to tint it undiluted. If it's already going to lie down thickly, then we will already dilute it. Let's thin it a little with thinner. Now I will add a little. So then we still blot the brush on a napkin and it will be much better. I wipe the brush on a napkin, it will be semi-dry. Now let's see how intense the shade will go. What do we need to do? Look, we need to walk through the places, but still we need a thicker color, less diluted. And a well-wiped brush. So, the points of attachment of the leaves are neat, mainly the edges of the leaves and the central part of the attachment of the leaves. Where they go, we gently pass the brush. If there are surpluses, it is better then we gently wipe it all off, blend it, or with a dry brush. Or we will go for a dry napkin. That is, we touch the base of the leaves and a little here there is a smooth transition from leaves to leaves. Somewhere we go through with our fingers shading. Fingers are even better, because the shading is quite good, intense. Because sometimes we leave brush strokes, and it is very convenient to do this with our fingers. Here, look. But look that there are no strongly colored leaves, because we want a light shade. So, basically, then on a napkin, where the brush cleaned well, there was still color left and just a very small amount of paint was captured. It is what you need. So, shade with your fingers. So let's see what happens. So now this leaf, and now the bottom part. I'll take a little more here. This is how in principle the leaves of living orchids are painted. Some kind of lilac shade. They have red. It is in the leaf growth zone. Now I'll take a little from the palette. Shading. The main thing is that there are no sharp strokes. Very smooth transitions, so be in control of the process. So that's what happens. The same thing we do with the other hand. And what else can you do? Since the upper leaves are not painted at all, only two small leaves, you can walk along the very edge. Do you even know how I'll do it? We dip our finger into the paint and with such exciting movements the very edge of the leaf. We're going through. In this case, the very edge is painted. That is, literally in millimeter. Not the entire leaf is colored, but only the top. Therefore, it's more convenient to do with your fingers. I've grabbed the paint. If it's too much, we remove it. And I walk along the leaf to the very top. I put a little emphasis on the coloring of the upper part of the leaf. Look. I think it can be seen. Here's what happens. I do the same on the other side. Rather, I will grab another leaf a little bit small, which we did the very first. The same thing, we pass the top like this between the fingers. Grabbing. And here, just a little straight. You can do with the brush, but I repeat, it is very convenient to do it with your fingers. It turns out conveniently and very neatly enough. So what else can you do now? The big leaves are the same. Walk a little, even though we have them tinted. On the edge. Here we have a little bit, closer to the growth zone. So, we walked with our fingers. The same thing on the other side of the leaf. Do not overdo it so that there is not a very saturated color. Light accent. Now we process another leaf, the bottom one. We rub the paint well between our fingers and go over the leaf like this. If there is extra paint somewhere, then shade it. This is how we go through all the leaves. Just a little bit, a few centimeters, literally, from the growth zone to the middle. On this side and on the other side the same thing, toning here and toning the leaves a little. That's all. This will complete our tinting of the leaves. Look, what a beauty it turns out. And then we will already do further assembly. I will tint, you will do the same, and I will show the result that I get.